So today, I'm gonna talk about DSP and its military applications, particularly on thermal sensors. So what is a thermal sensor? A thermal sensor is a sensor that uses the thermal energy of a specific object or a person and any living thing that produces its own body heat, which means it can sense even through the lowest levels of visibility. So if you're a gamer and you remember the game Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you remember its Act 1 named Cliffhanger Mission, which aims to retrieve an AICS module from a downed satellite. They use the thermal sensor to spot enemies from a distance without the enemy noticing because of the winter. So it's a specific sensor and it can be used for ballistic missiles, rockets, and rocket pods. So what is DSP to it? DSP aims to help and enhance the capabilities of thermal sensors. Before, it was only used on a semi-active radar system of the SAM missile, which is a mobile surface-to-air missile that uses thermal energy to spot its enemies from hundreds or even thousands of miles away. So, today it used for even for terminal high altitude or THAAD missile systems, even AIM-9 Patriot missile systems that uses this kind of sensors to acquire their targets to seek and destroy. So its fire and forget mechanism is also an attribute of the DSP. It aims to spot the object if it's friendly or foe, which means you can select if it's friendly, you can select it to be safe, and if it's enemy, you can destroy it.
Radio Direction Finder. Radio Direction Finder is a device for finding the direction or bearing to a radio source. The act of measuring the direction is known as the radio direction finding or sometimes simply direction finder. Using your two or more measurements from different locations, the location of an unknown transmitter can be determined. Alternately, using two or more measurements of unknown transmitters, the location of vehicle can be determined. RDF is widely used as radio navigation system especially with boats and aircrafts. Radio Direction Finder, also called radio compass, radio receiver, and directional antenna, system used to determine the direction of the source of a signal. It is most often refers to a device used to check position of a ship or aircraft, although it may also direct craft course or be used for military or investigate purposes. The antenna, usually a loop antenna, rotates and pinpoints from which a radio signal is strongest. This is the directions and position of which is already known. Using the directions and position of several radio stations, a navigator can use a triangulation to determine the position of his craft. Correction must, however, be made in readings from the radio direction finder to account, for example, for the effect on radio transmission of the craft's magnetic field.
Beam system. So what is beam system? Beam system is basically used in radio navigation. It is to apply radio frequencies to determine signals in the navigator. So how it is related or how it is worked in DSP? So basically, beam systems broadcast narrow signals in the sky, and navigation is accomplished by keeping the aircraft centered in the beam. A number of stations are tried to create an airway with the navigator turning different stations along the direction of travel. These systems were common in the era when electronics were large and expensive, as they placed minimum requirement on the receivers. There were simply voice radio sets tunes to the selected frequencies. However, they did not provide navigations outside of the beams, and were thus less flexible in use. The rapid miniaturization of electronics during and after World War II made systems like our practical and most beam systems rapidly disappear.
So now let's have the weapon guidance system. Satellite navigation has become very important for military target acquisition operations, reconnaissance, and weapon guidance systems. Tracking of potential targets before they are declared hostile is the main requirement in modern military operations. A number of military systems use GNSS or Global Navigation Satellite Systems to track the movement of these potential targets. This data is also collected to feed situation awareness systems and weapon systems. Conventional weapon systems such as smart bombs and guided missiles use the acquired tracking information enhanced by GNSS receivers information and other guidance systems. The surveillance target acquisition systems are military applications aimed to encompass tracking, reconnaissance, and map creation systems in order to help missile and bomb guidance mechanisms and battlefield management systems. The tracking mechanisms are performed by military weapons to detect the potential hostile position both on air or on the ground using the satellite navigation information to accurately detect the target's coordinates position. The GNSS position data is loaded into the weapon such as smart bombs and guided missiles.
Distance Measuring Equipment, or DME, is a transponder-based radio navigation technology that measures slant-range distance by timing the propagation delay of VHF or UHF radio signals. It is useful because, with the bearing from VHF, omni-directional range, and the distance to a known point, the DME antenna at the VOR, a pilot can positively identify the location of the aircraft. To enable aircraft to measure their position relative to the transmitter, aircraft send out a signal which is sent back after a fixed delay by the DME ground equipment. An aircraft can compute its distance to the transmitter from the delay of the signal perceived by the aircraft's DME equipment using the speed of light. The distance formula, distance equals rate times time, is used by the DME receiver to calculate its distance from the DME ground station.
Tracking services can also be called GPS tracking. GPS means Global Positioning System. So what is GPS tracking? GPS tracking is one of the most interesting technological advances in our time. GPS can be used to find anyone with tracker anywhere in the world. This is because the whole system can make use of the satellite that occupy the space above from the Earth. So what is the connection between DPS and tracking services, military and navigation? As you can see, they have the same process of the connection of signal, started by GPS satellite to GPS trackers to land, air, sea servers to internet, and lastly to computer or mobile device. So let's talk about the benefit of GPS tracking. Example, each soldiers carry their GPS device in their packs so that by using GPS tracking system, they makes possible to decrease the chance of friendly fire because it can monitor their allies in the ongoing location of them. It is very helpful because they will quickly rescue and locate soldiers who may be lost in the battlefield. That is why tracking services provide powerful tool in military as of today.
IFF systems. IFF systems are identification for friend or foe system is an identification system for command and control. It is developed in World War II. It is mainly used for aircraft or vehicles to identify if it is friend or foe. It enables the aircraft control tower for military and civilian to know if the aircraft that will land or will go in our airspace is a friend or foe by using the identification saved in the server bank. To identify if the aircraft or vehicle is a friend or foe, the IFF system will give a radio frequency interrogator signal from the interrogator and send it to the aircraft or vehicle. Then the aircraft or vehicle's transponder will receive the signal, then decode and transmit its identification to the interrogator. Then the interrogator will receive the signal, decode, display, and transmit its code to the monitor or the output to know if it is a friend or foe.
Let us now talk about satellite navigation. First, do you know what satellite is and where do we find it? Let me show you this one.
This is what we call satellite. It is a manufactured object that orbits the Earth, Moon, or another celestial body. Satellites have been hacked by militant organizations to broadcast propaganda and to pilfer classified information from military communication networks. Satellite navigation allows precision in the delivery of weapons to targets, greatly increasing their lethality, reducing casualties from misdirected weapons. It can also be used either in phones or laptops. It allows small electronic receivers to determine their location to high precision using time signals transmitted along a line of sight by radio from satellite.
That is why satellite navigation is developed.
Navy CEC Sensor Fusion System. So first, what do CEC Sensor Fusion System means? CEC stands for Cooperative Engagement Capability. Distributes sensors and weapons data from existing systems by fusing tracking data from participating sensors and distributing it to all other participants using identical algorithms to create one common radar air defense tactical picture based on all sensor data available. In December 21, 2011, U.S. Navy leaders needed an electronic contract manufacturing specialist to build Signal Data Processor SHARA or SDPS systems for the CEC, a program which blends radar information from several Navy systems to create one common air defense tactical display or air picture, which is based on all sensor data available, and they find their solution from Sacha Electronics Incorporation. The SDPS or Signal Data Processor SHARA includes SHARA 2, SHARA II cryptographic chip designed by Harris Corporation, which helps CEC meet cryptographic modernization, which help CEC meet cryptographic modernization requirements used for commercial off-the-shelf components to create one system architecture. The SDPS or System Data Processors SHARA, which is the core of CEC system, provides the processing power necessary to fuse the radar sensor tracks from several different radar systems on the ground, on the air, and at the sea. So, that is all about the Navy CEC Sensor Fusion System.
Thank you for